Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming. My name is Marty and I'm the CEO of Get Started. It's good to see some familiar faces in the audience. For those who are our clients, they're heckling, particularly you guys down the back. Thank you very much. So we're excited to talk to you today about how to choose the right CMS. And it's going to be myself and Adam Griffith, our Managing Director. And I just want to take you through a couple of things about us to begin with. So firstly, this is not a sales presentation. You're not going to get to the end of this and have some wonderful offer or a package or something you need to sign up for. That's not our intention. Our intention is that you get real education about content management systems, what works, what doesn't work, in terms of your approach and how to choose the right one. So that's our intention today. So a little bit more about us. So you've got the credibility of Get Started and who we are and why we're here. So 3 directors, myself, obviously Adam and Andy, who you'll see around. We have 30 staff, which is a fairly large size for our industry. We're started in 1999, which is probably one of the oldest web agencies in Melbourne, nearly 13 years in a couple of weeks. We're a full service agency, so we actually do everything from the strategy all the way through the hosting. So we host government websites right down to local small business websites and everything in between at 2 data centres in Melbourne and 1 in Sydney. We are the #1 Kintico partner worldwide. Kintico is a content management system. You'll see many here at the show exhibiting throughout the next 2 days. Kintico is one of those systems, and it's one of the things that we're great at, but our intention today is not to talk specifically about how great Kintico is. It's really more about what does the market look like and how many content management systems are out there, and which was the best way to approach picking one. So our intention as a business is to help people seize the web. So what Adam's going to be, let's got some more credibility. Snooze is one of our biggest clients, fantastic project that we launched around Christmas for their Boxing Day sale. Curtis Stone, many of you will know, is the Australian chef who's quite large in the US and it's a full e-commerce site with Australian and US pricing. KidSpot, Parents Directory, Mums and Dads website that's now owned by News Corp. Huge, fantastic website that is massive. Shrine of Remembrance we launched last year, quite timely with Anzac Day last week, and a government client with the Central Service Commission, trying to round it out. So before I continue talking about what Adam's going to chat about, I just want to get a bit of a quick survey of the audience. Who actually has a website currently? Don't be shy, you don't have to sign up for anything. Fantastic. Who currently has a website with a content management system? Great, it's good 50% of the audience. And anyone who actually has a Twitter account? I know it seems a bit weird, but I'm just interested. Wow, things have come a long way in 13 years in this business, I tell you. I've spent a lot of time trying to tell people that they needed a website, and now pretty much everybody has one. So Adam is actually going to talk about content management systems, obviously, how to choose the right one for your particular requirements. So if I actually asked each of you which content management system you're using, you'd say a huge, wide variation between sort of small, open source, right through to enterprise content management systems. And that is essentially the market. Getting a sense of the right one for your requirements. And he's also going to give you a handy short list at the end about how to pick your content management system. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Adam Griffith.
Thanks, Marty. I'm Adam Griffith. I'm the Managing Director of Get Started, also the Digital Strategist. So today we're going to talk about content management systems, probably one of the more exciting topics. We're very passionate about content management systems and helping people seize the web. First thing I want to cover off is what is a CMS? That there is an artist's impression of a content management system. Not quite. It is actually a CMS though. It is a compact muon solenoid, part of the Hadron Collider in Switzerland. But that, unfortunately, is not what we're going to talk about today. We're going to stick to websites and content management systems. Content management systems are a lot more than just editing content nowadays. There's so much more to it, everything from workflow, e-commerce, social integration, intranets, document management. There's so much more to it than just a WYSIWYG editor. It's grown so much that we've now seen a little bit of fragmentation in the marketplace. So it's really important we get our terminology right. So at the top end of town, we've now got what we call Enterprise Content Management Systems, or ECM. And that's really managing content across a whole organisation. So not just about websites, everything from documents within a corporate to external documents as well. But today we're going to focus on Web Content Management Systems, or WCM or WCMS, however you like your TLAs or three-letter acronyms. I'm going to leave digital asset management, document management systems and intranets for another day, because otherwise I'd be here all day talking about that. E-commerce and social, though, is very much now part of the Web Content Management Marketplace, so we won't go into too much detail on that today, but it's something to keep in mind. Alright, so today's all about understanding what is the right CMS for you. And the short answer there is that it depends. You're not going to walk away today with a silver bullet answer. What we are going to go through, though, is a bit of a process that you can follow to help you find the right CMS for you. So no one CMS that fits everyone's needs, and look, that's actually a good thing. The web is becoming more and more complex, and everyone's requirements are different. And this has led to a broad marketplace that's fulfilling a broad range of requirements. And that's led to specialisation, and I think that's a really good thing. I think 10 years ago, the market was very immature. Everyone was trying to do everything, trying to satisfy everyone. 12 years later, 15 years later, we're now actually starting to get some really specialist content management systems that do a great job at what they're meant to do. Alright, so what was the old way? What was wrong with the old way? So perhaps you might have had a similar experience. You might have jumped on Google, did a quick search, maybe found a few web agencies, go and meet with them, they try and sell you their CMS, you end up with an in-house CMS. Or perhaps you might have read a blog post, you know, WordPress, awesome CMS, let's go with that. So you end up with the flavour of the month CMS. Or you might have thought, let's go into a bit of detail, let's produce a 100-page request for proposal feature list, and you might end up with a bloated CMS. It's a little bit of a fail, all right? You're not actually understanding what your requirements are. Those processes are missing two really important things. It's missing any kind of requirements analysis, and it's also missing any kind of research, actually looking at the marketplace and looking for something that fits your requirements. Alright, so what we're going to go through today is a better way. So firstly, what we want to do is actually go through the process of defining your CMS requirements. We want to talk about researching the CMS marketplace. We want to meet and question and test CMS vendors. We also want to create a shortlist and review agencies. And then finally decide and commit. So we're going to go through each of those 5 items today. So the first one, defining your CMS requirements. We need to start with our business goals. What are we actually doing? Why do we need a new website? Why do we need a new content management systems? What's the purpose of the website? Is it to generate new sales? Is it to reduce administration time? Is it to generate leads? Why are we doing this? The next thing is actually go into a little bit more detail. Define the use cases and user personas. Who's actually going to be using the website? Now this is really from the point of view of your internal organisation. Who are your content editors? Okay, what sort of skill set do they have? Are they developers or are they non-techies? Understand how they're going to actually use the CMS and define some use cases, because we're going to come back to that a little bit later. Alright, so understanding what your content workflow is. Who creates it? Then who edits it, who reviews it, who pushes it live. So understanding what your content workflow is and whether or not that's what you want it to be. So often you'll be in a situation where you're not happy with the amount of content that your website is generating. You know, you want to be doing more blogs, you want to be creating more content. What is going wrong there? Okay, understand what you want your content workflow to be before you start looking for a content management system. The next thing, we really need to lock down the must-have features. Now, the most important word there is must-have. Content management systems have a huge amount of features. You know, every vendor is saying, you know, we've got 100,000 modules and this does this, this and that. focus on your must-have features, because that's what's going to differentiate the content management systems that you're going to shortlist. Sorry, just jump back. So I've also got some tools here that you might find useful to actually help you go through this process. Now, don't worry about writing it down. All of this information is on our website, and I'll give you a link at the end, okay? So no need to worry about taking notes. There's the PDF of the presentation is already online, so you can grab it straight after this presentation. All right, so let's move on to actually researching the CMS Marketplace. So we have to actually look at what's out there and see what's going to fit our requirements. So the first thing we want to do is actually start with some sort of refinement. Okay, if you go out to the marketplace, and you'll find that there's thousands and thousands of content management systems. It can be a little bit confusing, a little bit imposing. Try and start with some sort of important refinement element. So that might be by type. So by type, I mean sort of feature set, license, whether it's open source or proprietary. Technology, so does your internal systems have .NET or PHP or Linux? We'll go through these in a little bit more detail later. Try and review as many content management systems as you can. Obviously you can't review everything. And then we want to actually, we've got some tools and websites here, again, to help you do this. So CMS Matrix is a great website. You can sort of put in certain sort of features and it'll give you some results. CMS Critic does some really great reviews, content management systems, and if you're after kind of more of a white paper, very in-depth research, then you can go to the Real Story group, which used to be CMS Watch. Alright, so we're now up to the stage where we're actually meeting and questioning the CMS vendors. Alright, it's really important to understand who you're actually going to be working with. Okay, so do a little bit of research on the company. So we want to review their history, we want to review their support process. Okay, so once you're actually live, what happens when something goes wrong? What happens if there's a bug? 12 months later, 2 years later? Okay, what's going to happen in that situation? Also understand what their roadmap is. Where are they taking their products? How often do they do product releases? Are they going to be staying up with the market? That's really, really crucial. And the other thing is, what sort of community do they have around CMS? Are there developers pushing up public, free plugins, or is it very much a closed CMS? Okay, and finally, and really importantly, make sure you demo and test the content management systems with real users against your initial requirements. Don't just go into their demo site and have a quick flick around and say, yeah, that looks great. Actually test it against those requirements that you spent so much time putting together. Super important. All right, so the next step in the process, we're now sort of creating a shortlist and actually starting to review agencies. It's important to understand that most of the time, this decision involves two parties in addition to your party. We've got the content management system vendor, and then we've got the agency that's actually implementing it. Right? So you could go out and find the best content management system and then choose an agency that doesn't know how to implement it and end up with a terrible website and you feeling like you've made the wrong decision. Now, we've had that experience a lot where other vendors, other agencies, have recommended Kensico or another CMS, implemented it, and then it's come back to us to fix up. So really important that you see this as a two-pronged decision. Understand, choose the right CMS, but also choose the right agency. Really important. All right, try and shortlist at least 2 or 3 CMS products. So don't get down to one and then go out to agencies, because you might find that you don't gel or mesh with any of those agencies. So start with 2, possibly 3 products, and then start shortlisting agencies. And again, can't hammer home this enough. Find an agency that specialises in the content management system. Content management systems are complex nowadays. Someone can't just pick up a CMS and implement it if they've got a few .NET developers or PHP developers. It's not possible. They're too complex. Really important. All right, so again, with each agency, with any kind of buying decision, it's important to understand the history. Okay, we're also actually go out and speak to some referees. You know, have they had the experience? What sort of experience did those people have? Also, understand who the key people are. Are they going to be there in 6 months' time? You know, our industry is somewhat fluid. People move around a lot. Okay, so it's important to find who the key people are and to make sure that they're going to be there in 12 months' time when your website goes live or after it's gone live. Obviously, also really important is how they actually manage their projects. Okay, what's the methodology they implement? How do they support it after going live? Okay, and then also, obviously, how are they actually going to do it? Okay, so their proposed solution. Make sure they actually itemize out what they're going to do. So often we find that companies just end up with 3 line items on their proposal: design, development, implementation. Okay, it's not very hard to actually work out exactly what you're going to do and itemize that down. Okay, so make sure you ask for that. Get them to spend a bit of time to win your business. Okay, final step in the process. You then need to decide and commit. Okay, so it's important to be decisive when you're making that decision. Get behind it and make sure you get other people behind it. Okay, it's a big decision. You know, content management systems can be quite costly, and the project itself is a large investment. Make sure you commit resources to the projects. Okay, buying a website is not like buying a product. Okay, you don't just buy it and then all of a sudden you've got an amazing website. You as the client need to be involved. Okay, you need to commit resources and people to the project, and it takes time. It's also really important that you manage your internal stakeholders. Communicate with them, keep them up to date, let them know how things are going. When is it going live? Is the date's moving? Keep them up to date. And it's really important that you incorporate your content management system into your everyday. Once it goes live, don't forget about it. We often find that. So people launch the website and say, oh, done, awesome, great, I've got a website. It's really important to make it part of your everyday. It's a big investment, keep it going. All right, let's talk about the CMS Marketplace. Okay, first thing I touched on before, that ability to refine the marketplace a little bit to help you the decision. And one way you can do that is by feature set. So I mentioned before how content management systems are starting to specialize. Okay, so we've got our sort of, general web content management systems. We've also got our more specialist ones. The next thing is about license. So defining whether it's open source or closed source, technology, and price. So let's go through each of these. So the first one here is the type or the feature set. Most content management systems fall into the general web content management system category, but then you've also got sort of more specialist ones like blogging engines, so your WordPress, movable type. You've also got e-commerce platforms, things like Magento, Shopify, and then you've got social platforms as well. Okay, so again, coming back to your initial requirements, perhaps one of the more specialist content management systems may serve you better, or if your requirements cross multiple features, then you may need to go on the general web content management systems. And that's kind of what I'm going to focus on a little bit later when I give you a bit of a short list, mainly around the general ones. Alright, so the next category is license. Now often you'll need to start with one of these. Your organisation might come out and say, we need to have open source. Okay? In that case, that helps the decision, okay? Refines it down, cuts it down dramatically. However, your organisation also might be somewhat anti-open source. Okay? They may need to have a proprietary system. They may want a company that they can rely on. Okay, someone that they can point the finger at if there's a bug 6 months down the track. That, you know, that they know that it's not going to be lost in the blogosphere. The next 6 months we have a new flavour of the month CMS. Okay, so sometimes it's important that you find a content management system that has a company behind it. Okay, your other option is to go with a single agency in-house CMS. And the final one is to get something custom built. Now, I would say that the content management system marketplace is mature enough that that should really never be the case. I would say that the only instance where that might be necessary is if you're actually building a complex web application anyway. Okay, so you're not really just needing a content management system. You're after something completely different. So probably stay clear of that last one. Okay, the other category is technology. All right, so your IT department might say, well, we've got a full environment full of Linux servers. Okay, so your only option is to go down the LAMP path, Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. So that might be a refining factor for you. Or you might have a Windows or Microsoft server set up in-house, in which case you'll need to drill down your choices to .NET content management systems. Okay, we've also got a number of others out there, but in most cases you'll probably fall into the first two if it's going to be a deciding factor. Now, if it's not, keep it open. Okay, don't feel like you need to make a decision on technology. All right, so we've also got Java, Ruby on Rails. We've got Django, which is the Python framework. We've also got one that's very popular with lots of developers at the moment is Node.js, which is basically server-side JavaScript. But not many content management systems are utilizing that just yet. All right, so the final category, if you like, to help you organize the content management marketplace is price. Now, very important, that can really vary dramatically. Everything from your free open source content management systems right up to 6 figures. Very wide range. Now, that sort of license cost is really important, right? Of course, you might have a budget of 10 grand, in which case you don't want to be spending 8 of it on a content management license. But you might have 100 grand, in which case 5 grand for the license is actually a small investment. What's really important is the total cost of ownership. What is it actually going to cost you over the life cycle of this product? Okay, so that includes everything from development and also your time. Make sure you factor in the investment that you have to make internally on a content management project. All right, so you're all sitting there going, okay, give me the answer, give me a short list. Unfortunately, I can't give you a short list, but I can give you a long short list or a short long list. One of those two. All right, so here we go. I'll give you I'll fire you with some logos. Here we go. All right, so I'm just going to focus on the general web content management marketplace, and we'll start with open source. Now, it's important to recognize that open source does not always equal PHP or LAMP, all right? There are also open source ASP.NET content management systems, so I'm going to take you through a few of those as well, all right? So we've got the category of open source, subcategories of technology, we've got our LAMP content management system, so the big three probably need to be in your short list or short long list. WordPress, Drupal, Joomla probably make up 70 to 80% of the content management marketplace. Does not mean they're perfect for you, all right? Just because they're perfect for lots of others doesn't mean they're perfect for you. We're all unique. We're all special, all right? We've also got a couple of others there. I've mentioned ModX, Typo3, Silverstripe, Squiz is Australian-based, Silverstripe New Zealand, great content management systems. Now, open source.net. We've got a couple of great CMSs here you might want to consider. So Umbraco.net Nuke, Orchard CMS, and the new one called SageFrame. Just a note on Orchard CMS. Like the jQuery project, Microsoft is actually getting behind this one. They're actually employing full-time developers to support the Orchard CMS framework. So it's an interesting one to consider. And we've also got a number of others that fall into other technology frameworks. So Plone has been around for a long time, based on Python. Refinery is a Ruby on Rails CMS. Magnolia and Alfresco are both Java, and Calypso is a new one, based on the Node.js framework. All right, so they're your open source ones. Let's go through some licensed content management systems now. Again, same technology framework, breaking it down a bit. Don't have as many in the LAMP space that are proprietary, but a couple of really good ones to consider here. Acquia actually takes the Drupal content management system, okay, and makes that into more of a licensed product, or basically puts a company behind it. We've also got Expression Engine, great CMS, a couple of others there as well. Then when we move into ASP.NET, we've got many of these here today, okay? Right here we've got Ectron, we've got Episerver, we've got us with Kentico, we've got Elcom here today as well. So make sure you spend some time talking to these guys. All got fantastic content management systems and worth a look. Again, we've also got some others here. I've included some software as a service content management systems. So if you don't feel like you want to look after the hosting infrastructure of your deployment, you may want to consider a hosted platform like Business Catalyst, recently took over by Adobe. It's an Australian success story based out of Sydney originally, now moved over to Silicon Valley. And Clickability is also another software as a service content management system. So as you can see, that's my short list. It's pretty long. There's a heap of content management systems out there and a heap of really good ones. So take the time, review them. All right. So key takeaways from today. Understand your requirements first. Really important. What do you actually need? Don't go after the shiny features. Understand what your requirements are. Spend some time researching the marketplace. Okay, start with this presentation. Jump online. I'll give you the address a bit later. We've got some logos and links there. All those will be clickable. You can jump on there and start the research. Also a few tools that I've mentioned as well. Make sure you demo and test with real users and against your original requirements. Really important. And then make your final decision based on both the content management system and the agency. Okay, it's the agency that you're actually going to be working with day to day. All right, make sure you like them. Make sure you trust them, and ensure that the CMS becomes part of your everyday. I think that's a really important one. It's not over after your website goes live. Okay, so if you manage to do all that, we'll end up in CMS Zen land. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for listening up. If you've got any questions, feel free to put your hand up or come up and talk to us on stand 40. And please, love some feedback. Jump online, getstarted.com.au/expo. Facebook comments there. Jump on there, have a discussion. Tell us what you think. Thanks very much.